Hi, this is Alfie, and welcome to another episode of My Messy Garage. Today's episode, I'll be doing a review on 9 different Iroshizuku inks. So if you don't want to spend your own money, but you want to see how great they look on paper, then feel free to stick along to this video. Word of warning, they're not very durable inks, and they will smear or... doggies. They will smear, and they're not very resistant to harsher environments. But other than that, stick around, hit the like button, and enjoy. So these are 2/3 of the inks I will be reviewing. And just a word of warning, they don't dry the same color as the example that's on the bottle, which is slightly unfortunate, but that's besides the point. On the other hand, the following inks, those also don't dry the same color. That's the example of them. The good news is, the murasaki is a beautiful color, without a doubt. It's my second favorite color. So there's that. These are the color inks that I definitely will be reviewing today. So stick around, and once again, don't forget to hit that like button, please. Please, please, please. Okay, I'm going to be using 2 separate papers for these ink tests. The first one is a 32-pound paper from Staples. It's a 98 bright acid-free, so that's always a plus. It's not very fibrous, so you don't have to worry about it clogging your nib unless you're heavily shading on this paper. There's also not a lot of bleed through, once again, unless you're heavily shading or writing over, or you have a super wet pen. The other paper I'm going to be using is a 98-pound sketchbook paper that's acid-free. There's no bleed through with this paper unless you have a really wet pen and you're sitting over it shading continuously. It's basically cardstock. Super big con is that it's fibrous. If you sit there shading on it, you're going to end up with little hairs in your nibs, and I will definitely include an example of that right here. So definitely be careful when using cardstock to write or to draw on. My writing instrument will be this dip pen. Why? Because I'm going to be going through 9 different inks, and the process for inking up a pen multiple times, specifically so that you can have an equal or a relevant testing of it, would be very painstaking. But with a dip pen, I can just wipe the nib off and move on with my life. So hopefully you enjoy that. This is basically, it's one of those no-name brand nibs, so I can't really give you any info on that, which probably isn't helpful. So there's that. All right, so we got the yama-iro first, the ama-iro. That was awkward. And here we go. What I'm going to do is basically just start writing. I'm probably not going to say anything much, but there's that. So, enjoy. So something I need to add is that on the heavier paper, it does not dry fast. I literally smeared this as I was moving it over. But anyway, continuing on. And there you have it for the this blue. I like it. It's really weird because on lighter writing, it seems to be not as dark, whereas if you really use a super wet pen, it's going to seem super dark and it might fade a little bit. However, I will include a picture. All right, moving on to the next color. the asa-gao. I got some fresh paper out, and here we go with the asa-gao. And with that tidbit, you have the writing with the asa-gao on the 98-pound paper and a heavy writing ink. It's a dark blue, and when you write just as heavy ink on the 32-pound paper, it seems to write a little bit lighter. Hopefully you enjoyed that one, and moving on to the next color. Okay, we moved on to the fuyu-gaki. It looks red. Kind of dries orange, reddish orange, but that's a little sneak peek, spoiler alert. So there you go. Also, I broke my pen, and you can hear my dogs protecting me in the background, so there's that. I broke my dip pen. I might get a different one later though. If you want to recommend a dip pen, by all means recommend a dip pen. I'll do a full send on dip pens too. I don't care. It's only money, and you only live once. Alright, I'll be quiet now. Enjoy the video. Alright, so that was that for the fuyu-gaki. Alright, and now we're gonna move on to the momiji now. And here we go with the momiji. Once again, I got my 98-pound paper, my 32-pound paper. Hopefully I'm not traumatizing you with every time you see me do this to my nib. Once again, it's a cheap steel nib, which means I can probably be very violent with it. Anyway, I'll hush up now. Something I'm going to need you guys to forgive me about is my absolutely horrible planning and or editing skills, because I have none. My day job involves me turning wrenches and filling out paperwork for turning those wrenches. And just doing these inks and fountain pen are just something fun that I do on the side, and I figured, hey, it sucks when you're trying to find something and you don't have a lot of money to try stuff, and people judge you for not wanting to, spend money on expensive things. I was like, let me just do this. Let me just come up with a YouTube channel where I do things the painful, expensive way, because I don't learn my lesson the first time. Right? Right? Yeah. Alright, back to hushing up now. Anybody remember writing emojis like that when you actually had to type letters and it was like XD for the static face? All right, yeah, there's that. Quick thing, I was wrong. This isn't steel, it's iridium. It is a genus iridium, genuine iridium. Feel free to educate me on what does that mean exactly. Back to inks. Murasaki. I don't know if you even noticed, but this has a lot less ink in it than the rest of them, and the reason for that is because the VAC 700R has this cool little filler bottle that I promised someone I was going to do a review on, or how to operating instructions for that. And I haven't quite done it yet, and I feel bad about it, but sometimes work gets in the way of life and, you know, things that you want to do for fun. And if you agree with me that sometimes work sucks and that you wish you'd rather have fun doing other things, feel free to hit that like. You hitting the like button makes me feel absolutely amazing. So there's that. Murasaki. There's that. I guess I should write that last half of the word name, right? Because that'd be rude otherwise. Shikibu. Oh god, my handwriting is horrendous. And moving on to the next paper. Super weird heart there. There you go. Yeah. All right. Murasaki. Super strong romantic. Recommend. Ah, damn it. I completely butchered that. That's embarrassing. Don't you love how you always get ink on your fingers somehow when you're dealing with fountain pen ink or dip ink? Moving on. We are now at the shin-kai. We are right here in the last. So we're 2/3 of the way through with trying out the inks I've got so far with me for this video. Wonderful. Okay, so there's that. Anyway, back to me hushing up while I write stuff. Yeah, I keep sneaking in random little notes in there, in case you haven't noticed yet. But please hit that like and subscribe button, because I have it written up here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please. Alright. Anyway, shin-kai. Moving on. Soyo. So? Someone tell me how to pronounce that, please. You would think with the amount of anime I watch, I would know how to pronounce that, but I don't. So there's that. Anyway, 98 pound, 32 pound. Moving on. This is my third favorite color. And maybe you'll see why in a little bit. One thing that I find interesting about pen, well, nib, ink, paper combinations is that it will drastically change the color or how the color dries, because these are the same color inks, the same nib, the same day, hour, almost same minute, but this one looks green, this one looks bluish. It's so weird, right? Yama-budo. Spoiler alert. It is my favorite color. It looks like it's grape juice, and 100% do not drink this. Disclaimer, do not drink ink. The fact that I should have to put a disclaimer in there is saddening. However, the Tide Pod Challenge was a thing. Anybody remember that? That's one of those things that one day, someday, in the long future, they're going to wonder what was humanity thinking about the Tide Pod Challenge. Unless you're a conspiracy theorist and you're like, population control. Okay, I'll stop doing paranoid things now. I apologize. Or conspiracy things. Hope I spelt that word right, because that would be super embarrassing. Okay, fascinatingly enough, I definitely spelt that wrong. There's an E somewhere in here. I think it goes right there. So I'm gonna fix that, but it's not gonna change the fact that I still spelt it wrong, and I still left up the fact that I spelt it wrong. So, that's awkward. Okay, moving on to the last color. All right, so here we are to the final color, the yu-yake. Most people say they saved the best for last. I didn't. I completely messed some stuff up and was like, look, I gotta do better than that. So do a retake. So here's a retake. You don't get to see what the blooper was. The blooper was super embarrassing. I'm gonna be honest, that was the blooper where I started to just do the whole shading in part instead of the wonderful S's. Yeah. So there's that. I'm not a super huge fan of the yu-yake. However, the purpose of this video is not to be like, oh, I recommend this color over this color and whatnot. This is so that you can see what the ink looks like, and then you can make your own opinion of it based off that. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was very time consuming. I definitely need your recommendations. I need your likes, and I need your subscribes. Basically encourages me to keep going. I like doing or trying new things. I have a messy garage, and I have a dog. Hey, Ren, come here. Come here. Ah, this is Ren. He's a baby. He's not a baby. All right, so peace out. Hope you enjoyed, and stick around because I'll have another video out eventually. Peace.